Do you think the British should bomb Islamic State?
No. We have been bombarding the Taliban for 14 years and we have been unsuccessful. The Taliban have taken some weeks ago Kunduz, so the bombardments were completely unsuccessful, but they were counterproductive. When we started to bombard the Taliban, we had some 100 terrorists, international terrorists in the Hindu Kush, and now we have 100,000. Our bombardments were a terror breeding program. We are increasing terrorism by bombarding IS, because we are killing also civilians. And for every child we are going to kill, or we are killing, we will have 10, 100 or 1,000 new terrorists.
Well, you've witnessed Islamic State close up. If not airstrikes, what would you do to undermine this group?
We should force Saudi Arabia and the Gulf states to stop the delivery of weapons and ammunition to terrorist groups in Syria, groups affiliated to Al-Qaeda. We should help our Turkish partners to close the border between Turkey and the Islamic State. Every day, around about 200 new fighters join the Islamic State. I have crossed these borders too. It's very easy, and we should stop it. And the third point is, ISIS is cooperating with groups in the population of Syria and in Iraq, which are excluded of the political process in their country. And we should do everything we can to get them, to bring them the opportunity to get back in the political process, to play a role in their country. So we need a national reconciliation in Syria and a national reconciliation in Iraq. And ISIS doesn't fear German bombs or American bombs or French bombs or your bombs. ISIS is fearing not to get weapons and ammunition from Saudi Arabia. They are fearing that the borders are closed, and they are fearing peace in Syria and peace in Iraq. And that's what we should do. This would be effective.
Well, you could pursue a long-term deal in Syria. You could pursue making it harder for people to cross the Turkish border. But in the short term, wouldn't it be effective if there are focused airstrikes on certain positions, particularly in Raqqa, which Islamic State has, just to undermine this very notion that this is a functioning state?
No. For two reasons. The first reason is in Raqqa live now only 200,000 people. The rest has left the city. And there are only 2,000 terrorists, ISIS terrorists, left. So we are killing civilians when we bombard Raqqa. Every day, Jordanians, Americans, Syrians, French bombardments happen, and now British bombardments will happen. And you will not only hit military targets. The French, for example, which started some days ago to bombard Raqqa, I was in Raqqa, they hit a factory and killed many workers in this factory. They attacked a hospital and killed many kids. And in all the websites in the internet, you can see the photos of these injured and killed people, children of Raqqa. And I said, for every child we kill in Raqqa, we will have more terrorists in the world. And therefore the strategy is wrong. And the terrorists don't march, they don't walk like a regular army. Their strategy is not to give us a target. So they work in little groups of 1 or 2 or 3 people. And they don't live all together in the same place. They live in some 100 apartments. I lived in one of their apartments. And when I was in Raqqa, we were bombarded also. And they bombarded the apartment, the neighbor apartment, and the neighbors were killed. And these were civilians. And this is increasing terrorism. This is strengthening ISIS. And I hope that your government will not make the second mistake after the war against Iraq, as I hope that my government will not participate
And Jürgen Töderhofer, was it possible for you to assess whether Islamic State had popular support in Raqqa? Were there people living there, civilians, who welcomed life under IS?
As I said, I was in Iraq and I was in Mosul and I was in Raqqa. And the ISIS fighters have told me we are tolerated and in certain points liked in Iraq, but they don't like us in Raqqa. So the population in Raqqa is not backing ISIS. They don't like them. The reason is 70% of the fighters of ISIS in Syria are foreigners, though they are seen as a foreign occupation. This is the main reason why they are disliked.
Jürgen Töderhofer,
This is a chance, and we lose the support of the population if we bombard them.